Hello, my name is Daniel. I don't come from a rich country. I don't come from a rich family. And when I was 18, I didn't even know how to introduce myself in English. People used to laugh when I tried to speak. Even my friends, even my own relatives. My accent was broken. My sentences were wrong. I didn't even know what to say in interviews. But I had one thing inside me. Something I didn't fully understand back then, but I feel it now. A quiet fire that whispered, "You are meant for more." This is the story of how a completely ordinary boy from a small, forgotten town, with zero confidence and no English, became a millionaire just by learning one skill: how to express himself in English with power. No, this is not a fake story. There's no overnight success here, no rich uncle, no viral moment. Just one broken boy, one small room, and one big dream. If I could just speak like them, maybe I could live like them. I want to tell you my story, not to show off, but to show you what's possible even when everything is against you. Because if you feel lost, if you feel like the world ignores you, if you feel like you're invisible because your English is broken, then I'm talking directly to you. This story is not about English. It's about survival. It's about freedom. It's about how I went from being silent in fear to speaking on global stages, to building businesses, to earning in dollars, to creating a life that once felt impossible. And I want to make you a promise. If you stay with me until the end of this story, you won't just learn about me. You will see yourself. You will learn how to grow step by step, without shortcuts. And you will feel hope again. So let's begin from the beginning, because where I started, most people would have already given up. I was born in a small, noisy city in the south of the Philippines. Our home was made of wood and tin. When it rained, we had to move our things to keep them from getting wet. My father was a jeepney driver. My mother sold fruits in the market. We didn't speak English at home. We didn't even have a television. I was the quiet boy in class. Not because I was shy, but because I didn't understand anything when the teacher spoke in English. I failed English in grade 4, again in grade 7. I remember once I was asked to read a sentence in front of the class. I stood up, looked at the page and just froze. My hands were shaking. I couldn't even pronounce Wednesday. The class laughed. The teacher gave me a weak smile and moved on. But something inside me died that day. After that, I avoided eye contact. I never raised my hand. I hated English. I hated myself. But things got worse. At 16, I tried to apply for a summer job at a tourist cafe. The owner said, "You're smart, but your English is bad. Tourists won't understand you." He rejected me politely, but it crushed me. That night I sat on our rooftop. I looked at the stars and asked myself, is this it? Will I always be poor just because I can't speak English? And that's when it hit me. It wasn't about English. It was about freedom. If I could learn this language, I could break out of this life. I could go beyond this town. I could understand the world. I could speak. I could earn. I could lead. That night changed everything. But it was just the start. The first step. I began with a broken dictionary I borrowed from my cousin. It was missing pages. I would sit in silence for hours just reading random words and writing them down. Opportunity, success, confidence. I didn't even know what these words truly meant, but I wanted to. I used to write fake conversations in a notebook and practice them alone. I would stand in front of the mirror and say, "Hi, my name is Daniel. How are you? I'm learning English." Even those 3 sentences took me one full week to say without stuttering. I started listening to English songs, not for fun, but to catch words. I paused, rewound, wrote lyrics, translated them. I remember one line from a song that changed my mindset. "There's nothing you can't do if you believe in you." I believed in those words more than I believed in myself. But nobody noticed. People thought I was wasting time. My cousin laughed at me once. He said, "You think you'll get rich speaking English? Look at us. Even graduates are jobless." He was right, but I kept going anyway, because deep inside I felt something shifting. One day I met someone online, a traveler from the UK who was visiting Manila. I replied to his post in broken English. He corrected me, but kindly. That became my first conversation with a foreigner. Was I nervous? I was sweating like crazy. Did I make mistakes? 100%. But I realized something. They didn't care about my mistakes. They cared about communication. They respected the effort. That's when I knew English is not about perfection. It's about connection. That conversation gave me fire. I started messaging strangers online just to practice. Some ignored me. Some helped. One even offered me a free online course in spoken English. And I studied it like my life depended on it. Because it did. Just when I thought I was improving, life hit me hard. My father had a stroke. I had to quit studying and work full-time in a hardware store. And just like that, my dreams of learning English, of becoming more, faded again. I worked from 7 o'clock a.m. to 7 p.m. lifted boxes, took inventory, cleaned toilets, all in silence, all in Tagalog, all in frustration. But then one day something happened. A tourist came in looking for a specific tool. No one in the store could help. But I understood what he said because I had heard that word before in a song, screwdriver. I helped him in English. He smiled, surprised, and said, "Your English is good." I almost cried because in that small moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, hope. After that moment in the hardware store when the tourist said, "Your English is good," my life didn't magically change. No doors flew open, no opportunities came running, but something inside me shifted permanently. I remember going home that evening, my shirt wet with sweat, my back hurting from lifting boxes. But my heart was burning. I whispered to myself, "Daniel, that was your first proof. You're not crazy. You're not dreaming too big. You can do this." But still, I had a full-time job, no internet at home, no smartphone, and barely enough energy to stay awake after work. So I made a decision. I would build my English 10 minutes at a time. Every day, no matter what. I couldn't study at night. I was too tired. So I began waking up at 4 o'clock a.m. while the world was silent. Everyone thought I was crazy. Imagine this, it's dark. Everyone's sleeping. There's no AC, just a small fan. I'm sitting on a plastic chair with a broken notebook and a second-hand grammar book from a flea market. Mosquitoes buzzing around me. I would light a candle because sometimes the electricity was out, and I studied page by page, word by word, alone. Some mornings I didn't understand anything. I felt like I was wasting my time, like this dream was too big for someone like me. But I kept showing up because I knew every sentence I learned in English was one brick in the foundation of my future. There was a time I almost gave up. It was 3 months after I started the 4 o'clock a.m. routine. One night I came home to find my mother crying. We didn't have enough money for my father's medicines. I was furious at life, at God, at everything. I went to my room, slammed the door, and screamed, "What's the point of all this? I'm learning English but nothing is changing. I'm still poor, still stuck, still useless." I punched the wall, collapsed to the floor, and cried. But when I opened my notebook the next morning, the page I had written the day before had one sentence: "Don't stop now. You're already in pain. Use it." That one line saved me. I didn't stop. One day I saw a flyer at the grocery store, 15 pesos per hour, internet cafe. I had never used a computer before, but I went. I sat in front of that glowing screen and Googled how to speak English fluently. That was the moment my world exploded. There were videos, forums, quizzes, free lessons. It was like a new universe opened, one I had never seen before. I started going to that cafe every weekend, just 1 hour, sometimes 2. I created an email, joined English learning Facebook groups, watched videos on how to pronounce words. I remember spending 3 days just learning how to say comfortable because I used to say comfortable. I copied accents, wrote fake emails to practice, watched TED Talks with subtitles, pausing every sentence. People laughed, even my coworkers. They said, "Why are you learning this? You're not going anywhere." But I just hadn't left yet. One day a woman from New Zealand posted in a group, "I want to help learners speak English. Send me a voice note introducing yourself." I stared at that message for 1 hour. My hand was shaking, but I recorded it. "Hi, I am Daniel. I am from Philippines. I want to speak good English." I sent it and waited. She replied, "You're doing great, Daniel. You just need practice. I'll help." That was the first time a native speaker encouraged me. That moment felt like winning the lottery. We started exchanging voice messages. She corrected my pronunciation, gave me tips, even sent me free materials. She became my first English mentor. And we never even met in real life. One day I was searching for English practice forums and I saw a post, "Need someone to transcribe short English videos. $3 per video." I didn't know what transcribe meant. So I looked it up to listen and write down what is said in English. I applied using Google Translate to write the message properly. They replied, "Send us a sample." I borrowed a headset, went to the internet cafe, and transcribed a 4-minute video in 2 hours. They paid me $3. It felt like $300. I cried in the bathroom of that cafe, not because of the money, but because it was real. My English had created income. From that day I knew, this is the path. I don't have to beg. I don't need a perfect job. If I can learn more, I can earn more. I started seeing myself differently. I wasn't the poor boy who failed English anymore. I was now a learner, a communicator, a builder, a dreamer. And I wanted more. I began learning English business terms. I watched interviews with CEOs. I studied how people pitch ideas, how they write emails, how they express confidence with simple words. I didn't want to just speak English. I wanted to own the language. I made a promise to myself from today. English is not just a language. It is my career. It is my freedom. It is my tool to escape poverty forever. I found out about websites where freelancers offer services, writing, translation, transcription, virtual assistants. I created a profile on one of them. It wasn't fancy. I just wrote what I could do. I can type fast. I can transcribe videos. I can do simple English writing. No one replied for 2 weeks. Every morning I would open the internet cafe's old computer, check my messages, and find nothing. And every time I saw 0, I felt something inside me whisper, maybe they were right. Maybe this isn't for people like you. But I ignored it. And every day I applied to 10 new jobs. No copy-paste. Every message was personal. Every message was respectful. Until one day, someone replied. A man from the US wanted help writing subtitles for his YouTube videos. He paid $10 per video. He said, "You're not perfect, but I like your attitude." That word hit me, attitude. That's what English had given me. Not perfection, not fluency, confidence, effort. Respect. That first client became my regular. I started earning $40, then $60 a week. I still worked in the hardware store, but now I felt like I had a secret superpower. I would go to the cafe after work till 11 p.m., go home, sleep, wake up at 4 a.m. again, repeat. But soon I hit a wall. One client ghosted me without paying. Another gave me a bad review because of my grammar. I failed a deadline because the cafe had no internet that day. And the worst, my mother said this to me one night. "Daniel, stop wasting money on this internet dream. You're just getting tired. We need you here." That broke me because she didn't say it out of anger. She said it out of love. She wanted to protect me from disappointment. She didn't want me to hope too high and fall too hard. But I couldn't stop. I had seen the world. I had spoken to people in Canada, in Germany, in America, all from a dusty, old computer. And I knew deep inside, I may not have money, but now I have a voice, and that's priceless. There was one day I will never forget. A client from Singapore wanted someone to write product descriptions in simple English. He asked for a voice call. I almost said no. I had never done a full conversation in English before. I was shaking, but I said yes. The day of the call, I wore my best shirt. I sat at the cafe, closed my eyes, and whispered, "This is it. You've been preparing for this." He called. I answered, "Hello, Mr. Ravi. This is Daniel speaking." I was nervous, but I didn't panic. I made mistakes, but I kept speaking. At the end of the call, he said, "Your English isn't perfect, but your spirit is. Let's work together." He hired me. That was the moment I realized English is not about perfect grammar. It's about clarity, effort, and energy. From that job I made $120 in 1 week. That was twice my monthly salary at the hardware store. After months of working online at night and at the store in the day, I made the biggest decision of my life. I quit. I told my boss with broken but clear English, "Sir, thank you for everything. But now I have to build my own life." He shook my hand and said, "I'm proud of you. Go make something great." I cried after leaving, not because I was sad, but because I finally felt like I was choosing my own life. But it wasn't easy. There were days when I had no clients, days when I doubted everything, days when I looked at my family and thought, "I hope I'm not making a mistake." But every time I had doubts, I opened my first notebook, the one where I had written, "Hi, my name is Daniel. I want to learn English." And I kept going. 2 years after I sent my first voice note, I earned over $1,000 in 1 month, from writing product descriptions, transcribing videos, doing voiceover edits, and helping non-English speakers write business emails. All using the one skill that once made me cry in class, English. That month changed how my family saw me. My mother no longer told me to stop. She would bring me tea when I worked late. My father, who still couldn't speak English, once said to me quietly, "Son, I don't understand what you're doing, but I see your eyes and they look alive." I saved up and bought a second-hand laptop and a cheap pocket Wi-Fi, then a table, a chair. I made my own workspace in the corner of our house. I still lived in the same neighborhood, still ate simple meals, still wore second-hand clothes, but now I was working with people across the globe. I was being paid in dollars, and I was using the same English I once failed in school to build a real business. I still remember the exact day I saw $5,000 in my PayPal account. It was evening. I had just finished a freelance job. I refreshed the screen once, twice, and there it was, $5,274.82. I stared at it for minutes. This wasn't a dream. It was real. Just 2 years ago I couldn't speak one sentence of English without panicking. Now I was getting paid in dollars. More than my entire year's salary at the hardware store. But this wasn't luck. This was strategy. This was patience. This was English. Once I had a few regular clients, I did something very important. I stopped charging low prices. At first I was offering to transcribe videos for $5 each. But after I had real feedback and some success stories, I raised my prices slowly, respectfully. $5 became $10, then $15, then $25 per video with editing, then $50 for writing an entire business pitch. Clients didn't leave. They stayed because I gave them more than just words. I gave them confidence in their message. And here's what most people don't realize: when your English improves, your value improves. You stop competing on price. You start competing on quality. I learned how to write powerful, clear English for businesses, handle client communication like a professional, offer new services like proposal writing, email marketing, and brand storytelling. And all of that was because I learned one thing most people never learn: English is not just a language. It's a currency. After my income crossed $2,000 a month, I realized something. I was working too much, 14-hour days, no breaks, no weekends. So I hired help, carefully. A girl from Kenya helped with proofreading. A boy from Bangladesh helped with research. A translator from Egypt helped with Arabic documents. They were smart, hardworking, and eager to grow. And I paid them fairly, in dollars. We became a small global team. We worked on bigger projects, product launches, online course materials, video scripts for CEOs. And the best part, I trained them in the same English techniques I had used myself, because I believed if I can rise, I should help others rise to. One day a startup from Canada contacted me. They needed help writing the full content for their website, pitch deck, and email marketing campaign. The budget, $10,000. I was scared. I had never done such a big project. But I said yes. I created a plan, divided the work into 3 weeks, had for Zoom calls, revised everything for times, and finally I delivered it. The client said, "This is world class. I've worked with agencies, and you just outperformed them." That was the moment I knew I wasn't just a freelancer anymore. I was a business, When I earned my first $10,000 a month, I booked a surprise dinner at a nice restaurant in our town. I brought my parents, my younger brother, and my little niece. We sat at a table with candles and cloth napkins. My father had never been in such a place. My mother kept adjusting her sorry, nervous. I ordered for everyone in English. When the food came, I stood up. I said, "I know you didn't always understand what I was doing, but thank you for trusting me. I want to tell you something. We're okay now. You don't have to worry anymore." My mother started crying. My father just nodded, his eyes red. That night we laughed, we talked, we celebrated, and in that moment, I realized something. I wasn't chasing dollars. I was building dignity. With enough savings, I took the biggest step of my life. I started my own company, a small content agency. We offered premium writing, editing, and English support for global startups. I rented a tiny office, got business cards, registered officially. We got clients from Singapore, Dubai, London, and California. And every time someone asked, "How did you learn English?" I smiled and said, "One sentence at a time." 3 years after, I sent my first message from an internet cafe. My company crossed $100,000 in annual revenue. I was earning more than doctors, engineers, and bankers in my town. And I had done it with nothing but a broken chair, a second-hand laptop, a fire in my heart, and a notebook that once said, "Hi, my name is Daniel. I want to learn English." If you've been following my story, you already know everything I've been through, from growing up poor to getting rejected, to failing my English class, to finally using this language to change my life. But now I'm not going to talk about the pain. I'm going to talk about the path, because you deserve to know. How exactly did I learn English? People say it's impossible to go from zero to fluent without classes, tutors, or money. But I did it with nothing but a notebook, a second-hand phone, and one deep burning reason: I wanted to be free. So here it is, step by step, everything I did. No secrets, no shortcuts, just the raw truth. If you follow these steps, I promise not only will your English improve, but your confidence, your career, and your entire life will start changing. Let's begin. 1. I stopped studying English and started living in English. Most people treat English like a school subject. They wait for someone to teach them grammar. But I made a decision. English is not a subject, it's my future. I changed my phone language to English. I wrote my shopping list in English. I talked to myself in English while walking, eating, even showering. I am cooking rice. I have to wake up early tomorrow. This shirt is dirty. Tiny sentences. Everyday life. But I repeated them 50 times a day, and slowly something magical happened. I stopped thinking in my mother tongue. My brain began thinking in English. That's the first step to fluency. 2. I trained my tongue, not just my brain. I realized something. Most people know English in their head but can't speak it because they never trained their mouth. So every day I did this: read one paragraph aloud slowly and clearly. Shadowed a speaker. I would pause a video after every line and repeat it in the same tone. Recorded one voice message to myself every single day. Sometimes I said things like, "Today I went to the market. I bought tomatoes. I saw an old friend." Simple but powerful, because I was training my tongue to move in English. And guess what? In 3 months, I could speak without freezing. Not perfectly, but naturally. That's when I knew confidence comes from action, not perfection. 3. I learned only 5 words a day but mastered them. I didn't chase big vocabulary books. I picked 5 useful words every morning. Let's say confident, nervous, explain, improve, believe. Then I made my own sentences. I feel confident today. Please explain that again. I believe in myself. I said each sentence out loud 10 times. Then I tried to use at least 2 of those words in a conversation or voice message. That's how those words became my own. Remember, you don't need 5,000 words. You need 500 words used powerfully. 4. I practiced thinking in English 1 sentence at a time. This changed everything. I stopped translating in my head. Instead, I trained myself to think in English. It's hot today. I'm getting late. I don't like this food. At first I had to force it. But I made a rule: every time I speak to myself, it must be in English. Even when I was sad, I'd say, "I feel broken today, but I will not give up." My emotions became English. My thoughts became English. And slowly my language became natural. 5. I used free tools like a master. I couldn't afford courses, so I made Google, YouTube, and my phone into my teachers. Google Translate, I used it to translate daily words. Then I clicked the speaker icon and repeated the pronunciation. YouTube, I searched for real conversations like ordering food in English. How to introduce yourself, English for beginners. I didn't just watch, I studied. Paused the video, repeated the line, copied the tone. ChatGPT, I asked questions like, "Can you correct this sentence? Give me a daily speaking practice." How do I say this professionally? Notes app, every time I heard a new phrase, I saved it. It's been a long time. That sounds great. I'm not sure about that. And I use these in my own sentences. 6. I made English a daily habit, not a big goal. Some days I studied for 1 hour. Some days only 10 minutes. But I never skipped because I knew fluency is not built in one day. It is built daily. Every morning 5 words, 5 sentences, 1 voice message, 1 short video. That was my routine. And slowly those small efforts became big confidence. 7. I spoke to strangers even if I was scared. One day I joined an online English group. Everyone was a beginner. No judgment, just practice. First time I said, "Hello, my name is Daniel. I am learning English." My hands were shaking, but they clapped. They smiled. They replied in English. And I felt something powerful. I can do this. I really can. From there, I joined small meetings, voice chats, Zoom calls. I wasn't great, but I showed up. And that's what matters. 8. I wrote every single day. I started a journal in English. Every night I wrote, what did I do today? What did I learn today? What will I do tomorrow? Just 5 to 10 lines. No pressure. Sometimes I felt sad today. I didn't talk much, but I want to try again tomorrow. Writing helped me see my thoughts. It made me calm. It made me honest. And slowly my grammar improved. Not because I memorized rules, but because I used English daily. You don't need money. You don't need a perfect accent. You don't need anyone's permission. What you need is hunger. I learned English in broken internet cafes. I practiced while working at a hardware store. I failed many times, but I never gave up. And today that same broken English made me a millionaire. So if you're watching this with fear, with doubt, with pain in your heart, just know this: one sentence can change your life. One brave moment can open a door, and one language can become your power. Listen to me, my friend. I know what it feels like to sit in silence. I know what it feels like when your heart is full of words, but your mouth can't say them in English. I know the fear, the shame, the doubt. But I'm standing here to tell you, you are not weak. You are not behind, and you are not alone. I started with just one sentence, broken, shaky, full of mistakes. But that sentence opened a door. That door led to my future. So if you are learning English right now, if you are watching this with pain in your heart, wondering, will I ever get better? The answer is yes. You will speak. You will be understood. You will learn. You will inspire. And one day you will look back and say, I'm glad I didn't quit. So don't stop now. Say one sentence, then another. Then keep going, even when no one claps. Because I promise you, the world will listen one day, just like it's listening to me now.